Hello and welcome to the CleanSlate theme development tutorial series. My name is Adam, and today we're going to talk about custom data. So, what is custom data? To start us off, we have some documentation on custom data. If you go to cleanslatecms.w.edu, click on How To's and Tips, Theme Development, and then click on Custom Data on the right, it'll take you to this page. And it'll tell you what custom data is. So let's look at this right now. In CleanSlate, there are two types of custom data. There's custom page data and custom site data. And today we're going to talk about custom page data. So what does that look like? If we go to a site in CleanSlate, I'm already logged in here. I'm on this Spartan Race site, and I click on Pages or Page Properties, and then I go over here. It says Custom Data, this Custom Data tab. I have a number of fields here, okay? Custom data is essentially a place where content authors or you, for example, can add text to fields or content to fields to be able to make your theme do something. Let's look at that in practice. Here is the Spartan Race site. This site is actually a site that is made with Super Theme, which we learned about in our previous videos. So basically this site has a hero here, it's got like a back page component, and then it's got this media object thing going on here. So if I look inside this page's custom data, so this is the home page's custom data, I scroll down, we have these slots, and this is what Super Theme is kind of known for, is being able to essentially compose a site and different components in different ways via slots. Okay, so you'll see here in slot 1 we've got a hero, in slot 2 we've got a back page component, and in slot 3 we've got a media object component. And if we look on the Super Theme site over here, we can actually see, for example, I want to go to the hero component. This is what the hero pattern looks like. And then down here, it tells you the different custom data options that you can have for this component. So we have put this hero text, right, that's displayed right there, inside of slot 1, okay? So we've taken this hero and inserted into the page by inserting it via custom data inside slot 1. And there's a couple other options here as well. You know, if we wanted to check out the media object, for example, we would go to the media object page here and then check out, okay, slot 1 to 10, and we'd put in media object, which is essentially what has happened right here for slot 3. So let's look at another practical example of custom data in action, custom page data in action. So if I go over to this undergraduate admissions page, I've clicked on admitted students and first-time freshmen here, and you'll notice up here we have this blue bar with this admitted students text right here. So what I can do is I can go into our undergraduate admissions site, and this is the page properties for the page that we were just looking at, and you'll notice that there's a section title custom page data here, and then there's a section class custom page data value here. So what's happening is this admitted students right here is being output onto the page right here. Okay, you'll notice that we are further along in the sitemap, right? This is technically the parent page right here. So by adding this custom data attribute right here, we can basically put in whatever text we want in here and have it output onto the page right here. Similarly, we can essentially also use custom data to be output onto a class on an HTML element. So, for example, this header admitted class right here, we are outputting that class from the custom data right here. So now that we've talked about a little bit about what it looks like and the practical examples of using custom data, let's talk about how to actually make custom data in our themes. So if we go back to the documentation under the how to use custom page data attributes, you'll notice that there are 3 steps right here, okay? The first step is to add the custom page data to your custom data attributes attribute either in your config.yml or add it to your template under the template's front matter, okay? So in this case, we are using custom data in the template, and there's a key 1, key 2, digital fusion, and foobar custom data attribute, and that's going to generate 4 fields. So that's going to generate key 1, key 2, etc., right here. That's going to generate those 4 fields for that template. If we put the custom data in our config.yml file, this is going to make that custom data available for all templates across your entire theme. So for example, if this is your front page template, you would only have these custom data attributes available for your front page template. Whereas if you had them in the config.yml file, you would have them across every template in your theme. For example, back page, front page, blog index, profile index, etc., all the templates in your theme. Now that you have the custom data attributes loading inside of CleanSlate, so they're showing up here in your page properties custom data tab, we need to actually use them in our theme. So how do we do that? So if you look at step 3 down here, you essentially have a custom page data radius tag right here. So at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch over to our brand patterns theme, and this is just the back page template, but I've hooked up a couple of examples right here. We're going to go through each one of these. So my first example deals with there might be a time where you want to embed a video on a page. For example, we have this hero element with this video on the right. This video element probably needs some specific markup to be responsive and to maintain everything that you want it to maintain. For example, a title, you want it to have the right attributes. What if we could essentially embed this on a page and keep the markup that we want while allowing our users to change the URL and the title of the video? So I'm going to pull up the, this is our brand patterns theme again. I have a custom patterns folder, and we have a couple partials that we're pulling into our back page template right here. That they are all right here. And you'll notice I have already defined my custom data attributes right here. They are in the front matter of the back page template. So you'll notice that I have a YouTube embed URL and a YouTube embed title right here. If I switch over to my responsive YouTube partial right here, you'll essentially have some markup here. This is just a container, this is the responsive container, and then this is more or less the embed code that you would get from YouTube, the iframe that you get from YouTube. So the only thing that you'll notice here is that in the title and SRC attributes, we are essentially using custom page data to put the URL for the SRC and then put the title for the title attribute. So to recap, I have my YouTube embed URL and YouTube embed title. They're going to show up in my custom data, the edit page properties custom data. They're going to show up right here as YouTube embed URL. That's the title that's going to be listed right here, and YouTube embed title. So those two are going to show up here. So if I were a user, I would paste in a URL into this field, and then I would paste in I would just write out the title. If it said YouTube embed title right here, I write out the title for the video right here. What I've done essentially here is made our markup very maintainable, because we can reuse this partial wherever we want to embed YouTube videos, and also keep that custom page data, keep that partial and that YouTube URL and title editable by our editors. If you are using a partial like this on your local machine and you want to play with custom data on your local machine, you can use Hammer to do this. So what does this look like? So after you set up the custom data attribute in the template, and you've got your tag wherever you want it, your rpage data tag right here, what you can do is you can go into your site's mock data file and scroll down to the page key. All right, and under the page key, there's going to be a data attribute, and if it doesn't exist there yet, you can just write data : and space. And remember, all of these things are space sensitive, so you want to make sure that you're indented twice from the page key, and then twice again from the data key. And you'll notice here I have all the same custom data attributes as I had in my backpage front matter, right? So right here, everything right here is all the same as what you see right here. So I have my YouTube embed URL right here, and I'm essentially assigning it this URL, all right? And I've also got my YouTube embed title. I am assigning it this string of text right here. So if we go over to my browser and check out this video, I can open up DevTools right here and inspect it. And let me scroll up a little bit here. Here's my iframe, right? This is the title attribute, which is properly outputting WStory, which is what we've got right here. And then it's also properly outputting the SRC of the YouTube embed. So that is essentially how to manage and maintain custom data and test it locally. You need this data attribute or this page and then data key in your mock data file, and then you add your custom data attributes right here and give them either set them to a string, a number, or whatever. All right, let's look at another example. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a partial that essentially gets the page ID. So we're using our get page, and we're assigning the ID to a variable. And we're going to basically use custom page data to make that ID dynamically editable via the CleanSlate user interface. So what I can do is I can have my backpage template with my page ID right here. That's going to create a field right here, which is my page ID, and I'm going to be able to enter in some text. Say 1234 is my page ID. All right, so if I go back to my get page ID right here, this is a variable, and we are actually assigning this variable via custom data. So again, in my mock data file, I have my data key, and here's my page ID. All right, so I'm assigning the page ID to be 2, and you'll notice down here in the mock data we have our pages key. And in the pages key, we have a page with an ID of 2 right here. So what happens when I go back to my browser and check this out right here, I hit refresh, you'll notice I have a profile index 1, profile index 2. Here, we are essentially getting a page via an ID that we set via the CleanSlate user interface, and then we're looping through all the children of that page and outputting the page name in an unordered list. So with that said, that's what's happening right here. We're seeing profile index 1, profile index 2. That is the page name, as you can see right here. So profile index 1 is right there, and if I scroll down to ID 3, profile index 2 is right there. So it's looping through the pages key right here to output the content right on the page. So some of you may remember from a previous video that we used rsetVar to set page or set variables in CleanSlate. When we are working with custom page data and custom site data, you actually don't need to do this. So for example, right here, I am using rsetVar and then explicitly setting it to this page data attribute, custom data attribute. In this case, whenever you have a variable that is inside of a radius tag, so it's inside of r:something tag, you do not need to use rsetVar with rpage data. You can essentially, this variable will automatically be hoisted past the rsetVar tag and into the custom data scope. So this is actually not even necessary right here. So to recap again, if you are using a variable inside a radius tag, so inside r:something, r:something, you don't need to use rsetVar. You can just assign it directly via custom page data. So another quick example is the stars little partial I've got right here. There's 3 stars that are going on. Let's look at the code for that. So this is just using this rloop each tag, and it's got this how many stars attribute. Remember, we have defined our how many stars attribute right here, and that makes the field available in CleanSlate. So how many stars is going to show up here? I could type 4 right here, all right, and that is going to be available via the UI. Now if I go back to my template and go back to the star loop here, this is another variable like we saw in the last partial, and it is available to custom page data. So whenever we set that custom page data, it's going to loop through the content inside here and print out as many as we say. So if I go back to my mock data file, I scroll up to the data, you'll notice how many stars is defined right here, and I have set it to 3. If I set it to 5, hit save, go back to my browser, boom, there's 5 stars. Just for fun, I'm going to do 15, boom, there's 15 stars. So this example is very similar to the rget page example. We are essentially using a radius tag, and we have a variable set within the radius tag. We have defined the variable under the custom data attributes right here, and we are then using the CleanSlate UI to tell this code how many stars to output. So one more example here, you'll notice here that we have a lead class. This is essentially just an outer container with a color, an inner container with a container. It limits the width of the page, and then a heading 2 to put in some content. And on this outer container right here, we have used our page data and have said we're going to add some wLead classes right here. So we're going to be able to essentially, just like on our admissions page, we're going to be able to have some classes that we're going to be able to type in right here. So I could say, my class, and it would be output right into this tag right here. So this enables us to essentially have classes. For example, if we wanted this blue section to change, if you're in a different part, a different structure of the site, different main section of the site, you could use classes to change that color via custom page data. At this point, I want to point out a slight variation on this pattern. One thing that you're likely to see a lot in our templates is there's actually a var. Instead of using our page data, we have a variable right here. And if you remember, in previous videos, we used our set var to change the color of like a background color on an outer container. If you want to basically use our var and be able to have this be editable in custom page data, what you have to do is you have to set that variable, that r var tag, via set var, and then you have to set the value of the set var tag and make it a variable so that you can consume that variable via custom data in your page's properties. So essentially, remember, this right here is not this, okay? Remember we said we need to have, if we're going to consume it via custom page data, it needs to be inside a r:" tag, right? So this is just essentially, this only has access to our theme. Whereas when we want to hoist it up into the UI, we want to make it available via custom page data, we need to use our set var and then make this value a variable so that we can set it via custom page data. So the last thing that I wanted to go over, and I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, is these custom data attributes are only going to be available for the Backpage template because we have only defined them in the Backpage template's front matter. If we want to make these custom data attributes available on any part of any template in our site, we should go to our theme's config.yml and input them right here. This will make them available for front page, back page, blog index, all the templates in our views folder, and they'll be available across all templates on our site. So I can put them in right here, and you want to make sure when you're creating these, you want to make sure that they are exactly 2 spaces. They are indented with 2 spaces. They contain a dash, and there's a space before there's a space in between the dash and the value. And remember, we want our custom data attributes to not have any spaces. this is not a good thing to do. You can either use underscores or you can use camelCase for your custom data attributes, okay? If you use, for example, a minus sign, CleanSlate could potentially construe that as a math operator. So a minus sign, like 2 minus 2 is math. So you want to keep these to be underscores or camelCase at all times. So that about wraps up our custom page data video. To recap, you need to add your custom data attributes to either your template or your theme's config.yml file. You then need to add either the R page data tag into your template, or use a variable that is inside an R colon something tag, and then you can essentially maintain the data via the custom data tab on the page properties of your site. In the next video, we are going to talk about custom site data, so stay tuned.